Now, today, thousands have gathered in Richmond, KZN to celebrate Women's Day, with this year's Women's Day theme being about socio-economic rights, empowerment and resilience. But for many, it's hard to celebrate being a woman as gender-based violence continues unabated. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to lead today's celebrations. At the recent ANC policy conference, he admitted that GBV is out of control in South Africa. Let's go to reporter Silindelo Masikane, who is in Richmond. She's on the ground for us. Slee, just tell us in terms of what we're expecting today. Of course, there must be some celebration at least, although, of course, there's still some challenges that women face in South Africa.
Certainly so. I mean, this is a day where we don't only celebrate Masego, but we also commemorate. You'll have to just forgive us for the poor signal. I might lose communication with you. The area seems to be struggling with some connections, but for the most part, there's quite a celebratory mood on the ground right now. But I think also a lot of us who are here at this event and those who will be watching from home are really looking for some solutions. From the speeches that we're going to hear. We know that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be delivering the keynote address. Stakeholders have already started arriving, as well as government ministers. At this point right now, what we are seeing is a cultural / entertainment program that's taking place. And while we celebrate, of course, in the back of our minds, and for many women, it's in the forefront of our minds, the fact that we continue to be unsafe in our own country, and we want to hear exactly what's going to be the plan to tackle gender-based violence in the country. Some of the latest crime statistics point to the fact that we are seeing a rise in sexual offences, in murders against women, against children, the most vulnerable in our society. And many would say that it's actually an indictment on government, the mere fact that South African women essentially live in fear. Masego, we know that, of course, KwaZulu-Natal as a province is now also going to get its first female premier, who has actually arrived here at the event. We had a moment to chat to her earlier. Our colleague Siphamandla Goge door stopped her. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
We all know that the face of poverty is that one of a woman. So we need to address the socio-economic situation of women. We need to ensure that we really face head-on with our men patriarchy that still exists very much in our society and in our communities. And we also need to deal with the gender-based violence. I think my call is that we need to invent a new man, a new brother, a new uncle, the one that is going to protect women, the one that's going to protect children, the one that's going to say, not in my name, that gender-based violence will still exist in our communities.
All right, Slee, I'm hoping that you can hear me, because you did say that the network is quite bad there. But in terms of the color that you're seeing there, some of the young women who possibly have the chance to speak to the president or engage with any of those government officials. Tell us more in terms of the program today.
You know, I think in terms of the program, we are expecting a number of speeches from ministers, from the Women and Children's Department, as well as small business, as well as, of course, the KZN Premier candidate as well. But earlier on, in fact, Masego, I must mention that we attended what was a picket, but also a celebration of women just 2 kilometers from the venue, where an organization has decided to honor women by giving them yellow roses, just to remind them and brighten up their day, to say, you know, we're facing many challenges and difficulties, but besides that, we should be able to honor ourselves and celebrate ourselves for being able to survive many of these challenges that we face as women in this country. You know, what though that particular group had to say is that's the Mzansi Youth in Business. They were saying that they want to hear in terms of the messages here today, what's going to be done to put women, more women in leadership positions, to empower them economically, to free them from poverty. I mean, many women are the backbones of their families. They're the breadwinners of their families. And, they should be the ones not only protected, but also empowered to be able to take care of their homes. I know you see me looking around myself, but I'm trying to just trying to see who's here. And I do see that there are some, guests who have arrived. I understand that some of them have already made their way inside, Masego, and our colleague Siphamandla Goke had a moment to speak to them. But it does seem as though we will have a moment to at least speak to to this particular minister. Thank you so much for your time, Minister Maite. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Happy Women's Day. Of course, you had a very important portfolio within government, ma'am. Maybe just give us a sense, as the minister in the presidency responsible for women and children, what does this day mean for our women and our children?
I am designated Minister for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Of course, there are young girls within that mix. Yes.
So as a department, ma'am?
The 66th day of the Women's March, it's mixed feelings for me. We're supposed to be celebrating the achievement of the resilience of women, but we are also lamenting and commemorating what gender-based violence and femicide had done to women. And we say to all progressive men, please come forward. Ifuna tina sonke, this to become a reality. When we bury COVID-19, we should also be burying gender-based violence and femicide and launching the council.
Minister, is it not an indictment on this ANC-led government that women don't feel safe in this country?
It's an indictment on the society throughout the world. That's why the matter of the gender-based violence is now in the books of the United Nations. It's an indictment to the world that the builders are the ones who can't even hit a fly are the ones who should be sacrificed for I don't know what. What is much more painful is in South Africa, you also have women dying in their bedrooms. So this must stop. Femicide must stop. No more femicide, no more gender-based violence amongst us. It must be 9th of August throughout the year. Because when those grandmothers of ours, Sophie de Bruyn and others marched, they did not say they are marching for the 9th of August only, but for total liberation of all South Africans, in particular women, that they get access to socio-economic well-being, but also that they not be touched for doing nothing. Yes.
Thank you so much, Minister. I will let you go now. Thank you very much for your time. As you've heard, Masego, that is the Minister in the Presidency, Minister Maite Mashabane, who was just speaking around, giving us her thoughts really around what she believes this day signifies. And of course saying that the state of women in this country in terms of their safety is certainly an indictment on the world itself, and not just singling out the ANC-led government here in this country.
All right, Silindelo Masikane live for us in Richmond in KZN, of course.